Yes, everybody, and welcome back to TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm Jacob Turner. He's Andrew Jones. And AJ, we are in Carter Finley at the Wayne Day Family Field. The only reason I know that is because it literally says it right there.
It's only 12:35.
Only 12:35, yeah.
This is success.
Yeah, this is pretty good for an 8 p.m. game. It's a miracle, really,
We were thinking 1:15. I know some people were worried.
Yeah.
And it's only like 36.
It's not bad out here. I mean, I'm used to it because I've been standing outside for the past 4.5 hours. But
I actually wore something.
Yeah, I'm proud of you for that because I thought you might come down here in a button-up or a T-shirt, and I was like...
So we don't do 3 stars after they lose, but 3 stars are we're out here at 12:35. Yep. I'm wearing a pullover.
Yep.
And I don't know, what's the third one?
That's a good one, man. We'll have to think about it. How about we let the people pick that out? Maybe they can give us something.
What's the third star of tonight?
Yeah, if you had to give a star out for tonight.
The time of this video... Mm-hmm. AJ's covered up and not freezing. Kevin Roy will be happy about that because he thinks that I think if it's under 60, I believe I'm in Eskimo land. So tell us what the third star of the night is.
Yeah, let us know, guys.
Because I know it didn't have anything to do with the group that was over there.
Yeah, and that's a heck of a segue.
Although Drake coming back in, I think that was kind of cool where he just wanted to tough it out and also kind of have his farewell.
Yeah, no, he's a tough kid, and again, did come back in, so I wasn't really surprised by it. That's what you know. Definitely can't give Carolina stars. They lost 39-20 to NC State on this very field right here. And AJ, let's start with the offense, and let's start with the first half. I remember coming up to you at halftime and being like, if you thought UVA was flat, this was even flatter, and it's surprising. I know from a fan perspective, it's frustrating because the amount of tweets I see on Twitter or X, whatever it's called, saying, how do you not get up for this game? And I think it obviously culminated in the defense we'll talk about in a second, letting up 39 points, 500-plus yards to an NC State offense that they're really not that good, AJ. No. They're okay, but they're not that good. But the offense, I think you said it, 4 3-and-outs in the first half. Just a ton of bad play in the first half. Looked out of sync. They looked flat. They looked like they didn't really care. And I'm not just blaming it on the offense. It was kind of a team culmination early on of just a lack of energy, a lack of physicality, a lack of wanting to be playing football on this field right here against your rival. That was extremely evident to start it out. And I think if you were watching it on TV or on the field like I was or in the press box, it was pretty easy to tell. But again, we have to start with the offense because I just thought picked it up a little bit in the second half, and I think that probably you have to get a little bit of reasoning to out. We talk about human nature on here all the time. NC State being up so big, I think that played a little bit of a factor. But man, that was I don't know if it was the worst offensive showing we've seen from Carolina this year, but it probably was, wasn't it?
Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Their first 5 possessions, 4 3-and-outs and a 4-play possession. That was the one where Marion had the 19-yard run on first down. And then they went 3 and punted. So, I don't know what that was.
Probably an NC State fan or something yelling at us. I'm not sure. Maybe it wasn't meant for us. Who knows?
Staggering one. People saw, you guys saw, that was a pathetic display of offensive football. Drake didn't complete a pass until 12 minutes left in the first half. He didn't pass the 100-yard mark passing until there were like 6 minutes left in the third quarter. Mm-hmm. There was nothing they did right on offense. They pushed a little bit, and he had that interception late in the third quarter, I think it was. Or it was early in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
If they score and make it 39-27, it kind of maybe gets a little interesting.
Just a little bit, yeah.
See if State gets tight, but wasn't going to happen. State did Carolina a favor by not converting touchdowns a lot in the red zone.
100%, a lot of field goals.
Yeah,
it could have been a lot more.
They would have been totally out of hand.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, a lot of times I have a lot of little tidbits that I want to roll off my tongue when we do these things, but they were whipped at the line of scrimmage on offense. There were a couple times where the crowd affected the snap. Drake was surprised when the snap came. One was a drop. You're talking about a guy who is as in sync with his center, Corey Gaynor, as you'll ever find.
He wasn't even looking at that fumble in the first half. He wasn't even paying attention.
Yeah,
I don't know who messed up.
Honestly, if a Carolina fan today would have been objective and said, okay, here's the worst case scenario offensively tonight, you would have scripted what you saw.
100%.
Omarion had 2 touches after the 19-minute mark of the game. 11-10 was his last touch until he had 2 more runs. It was only 13-0 at the time. Max said, well, we were too far behind. We had to abandon the run game. Okay. I still think given the fact that NC State had the ball for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
You got to get keep your defense off the field some and run Omar. And I don't know. Max said it was his fault. Said it was his staff's fault. And offensively, it looked like there was no plan. And whatever plan they had, they abandoned quickly because, oh my gosh, State's really good defensively.
Yeah, it's like surprising.
Peyton Wilson is taking bites out of people's body parts because he should. Yeah. Because he talked about the culture. That their culture was part of what we saw.
100%.
And Carolina didn't punch back and dug itself a huge hole. So I don't know how else I could say it. It was horrible.
I think that's the perfect word to summarize it with. No, it's cold out here.
Yeah, no, it was. I'm just trying to think of. I'm gonna have to process this when I go back up there and finish all my writing. If people read it, they read it. I don't. Carolina fans
wouldn't bank on that.
I would read it though because I'm going to hit on everything. I've got a big shovel, and I'm going to dig everything up because I think there needs to be a healthy perspective on what we saw tonight and on how it relates to what we've seen the last 6 weeks. And Jacob and I are going to do another video. We're going to do another show on Monday. We'll let this kind of absorb and marinate for a couple of days and talk more about the last 6 weeks. But this has been a bad football team for a while, which is shocking because there were no indicators to suggest they were heading in this way. And I had a couple people tell me this week, they haven't really exploded on a good team this year. Maybe they explode Saturday night. And I started thinking, I got a vibe this week over in Chapel Hill that everything was good.
It felt like it.
They had. I said in our show on Wednesday.
It did feel like it.
I felt like they cut the cord to Clemson really fast. But maybe in the end, whatever confidence this group built was gone, and it just looked tonight like it was sucked out of them. They may have come in here thinking, okay, we got a great plan. We're ready to go. We're going to plant our flag in the soil. And after a couple of series, like, holy crap. This is not good. On both sides of the ball. And we'll talk about defense in a second, but the specifics on offense, you get whipped at the line of scrimmage. You get good coverage against you. Drake was off again early, throwing balls low, throwing balls high. Like I said, he didn't complete a pass until there were 12 minutes left in the first half. At one point, State had 253 yards. Carolina had 52. It was late in the first half, or midway through the second quarter.
Yeah, there's no, you can look at this game and, break it down however you want to. But at the end of the day, Carolina was just bad tonight. And they just played really poorly. Again, we'll talk about it a little bit more and kind of what it means in a second. But let's talk about the defense, too. I mean, another poor showing from the defense. And, I think the frustrating thing from a fan's perspective, the people that were sitting right over there, you can probably see it in the corner over there, is, again, we've had so many conversations about the defense, AJ. Not this year. I'm talking about the last 4 or 5 years since I've been doing this, and you've been talking about the defense. You've been talking about defense for a heck of a lot longer than I have, doing what you've done for as long as you have. But 40 points, essentially 39. We'll round it up to 40. Who cares at this point? To an NC State offense, over 500-plus yards. Made Brennan Armstrong look fantastic. I said it jokingly off camera, but they made Kevin Concepcion look like the best wide receiver I've ever seen in my life.
He's good.
He's a really good player, but he's
good, and he wanted a Carolina offer and took a long time to get an offer.
And he ended up going to State, and it's been fantastic for them this year.
He ran that quite a few years ago.
Yeah. He's been fantastic for them this year. And again, Carolina made him look fantastic today. So, again, I think the frustrating part, again, from a fan's perspective, is we're having these same conversations every week of, okay, defense was poor tonight, and we're sitting on our football show like, well, why was the defense poor? And you're asking Mac, well, why was the defense poor? And Gene, why was the defense poor? And nobody really seems to have an answer for it. And
or they're just not going to tell us.
Or that. And if that's how it is, then that's fine. But
it's not like the opponent scouting. You don't see why you're not good.
And I will say this. I said it earlier. I thought this team was extremely flat today. This is the flattest performance I've seen under Mac Brown 2.0, and I'm fine with saying that. And I've been on the field a lot of times this year, and it was 100% the flattest performance I've seen this year. And again, I think it's the flattest I've seen in the last 5 years. And we were talking about it's probably the worst
performance. The bowl
performance.
game against South Carolina.
Again, I wasn't on the field for that one, so I can't speak, but that was poor.
Yeah, somebody asked me if this was the worst. That was maybe the worst. No, this was worse because
because of what it is, you know what I mean?
Look, South Carolina's not a rival. North Carolina's. We all like to say, oh, it's a rivalry. Stopping a rival in South Carolina left the league 52 years ago.
Yeah.
So this is your rival. This is the school that you
This is the game.
Yeah, it is. It is for football.
It's the game.
It's not for Duke. Isn't the game in football? It's this one, and they planted a flag in your. I don't know. It's mind-boggling. Yeah, I jumped in there. Go ahead.
No. But I just finishing off.
I'm not. I am personally not disappointed in any way other than
no.
I want to see games like this. We saw them all around the country today, where these rivalry games go down to the wire, and it is slinging it because your life depends on it. And there was one team on the field tonight that played like their life depended on both sides of the ball, and they were wearing red.
Yeah, and I think that's the tough part, because we have to come in here and kind of offer perspective and try to figure out, well, why is this, what happened these last few games and what happened tonight? And again, I just thought this team as a whole came out flat, and I thought it culminated in the defense. The amount of pre-snap confusion we saw tonight was mind-boggling at times. The body language, particularly in the first half, amongst individual players. I'm not trying to call anybody out, but it was extremely evident as someone who was 10 feet away from the action. So again, defensively tonight, we're having that same conversation, AJ, where the defense was really poor. Yeah, I mean, you talk about it right now.
My piece this morning was about how they said this week that pre-snap discipline, eye discipline, all that stuff, not getting taken in by the eye candy was paramount. I saw a lot of pre-snap confusion. Cedric said there wasn't. Max said there really wasn't.
I don't know about that.
Well, maybe there was. I mean, they were slipping. That's not an excuse when you get rolled like this.
I did get to a point where it happened so much. I remember telling you at halftime, I was like, is this like a part of the game plan maybe? Are they trying to do something to confuse NC State to look like they're confused? I don't know, because it was happening so much. I almost had like a conspiracy theory hat on at that point.
It was just bad everywhere. It was bad coverage. It was bad at the line of scrimmage. There was one play where State scored a touchdown. I've never seen an interior lineman lined up way out in front of he was in front of the E on, or was it the K or whatever down there? It was E for State.
Yeah.
It was Travis Shaw lined up like in coverage, and then he slipped and fell right before the snap. And I'm not singling out Travis. It's just, what I'm saying is, it just looked like there was a lot of discombobulation going on. Whatever State ran, if State ran what they expect them to run, Carolina didn't appear to have a scheme to stop it. And I will say this, the defense has been better this year than the people that complain the loudest have given it credit for, because the numbers bear that out when you compare it to last year. Last week against Clemson, they had 6 3-and-outs.
Yeah.
Clemson was 6 for 19 on third down. But this was bad. State reached the red zone on each of its first 8 possessions. Think about that.
It made it look easy, too.
This is a quarterback that was benched. This same team went to double overtime at home against a inexperienced, I guess, a backup from App State at the time.
Yeah.
And a third-string true freshman, Duke. And then tonight, a guy that has had confidence issues for 2 years and was benched in favor of MJ Morris, who decided, I'm going to sit this one out. And they keep winning, so credit to them.
Yeah, for sure. Got to give credit to State.
They scored on all 8 of those possessions, too. 4 touchdowns, 4 field goals. And like we said, if a couple of those would have been touchdowns, this thing would have been just historically bad. I think the worst loss Carolina's suffered against State was 48-3. The great Tim Peeler here at NC State, who's been doing this stuff for a long time and now works for State, made it very clear he knew that stat.
He was ready for that
stat. He covered that game. Chip Alexander covered it too. I did not. I wasn't in the business at the time. And it looked like that thing was going to be challenged for a while.
Yeah.
Carolina did get it going, but the defense was just bad. And State had, in the first half, State had 12 plays that gained 16 or more yards.
Oh, yeah.
That's the epitome of bad. That's Bunning bad. That's Bateman bad. That's Papuchis bad. You could go back to all the different DCs and head coaches they've had in the last quarter century when this team has played Matador defense, which has done a lot more than it hasn't. And that's how bad it was. And I would imagine that the Carolina fans watching, heads must have been exploding.
Oh, they definitely were.
It was,
and I get it. I mean, I completely understand.
Again, I kind of feel like I don't really know what to say because it's so much worse than I thought it would be. And we walk out of the interviews and you feel for people when they go through stuff like this, because doing this, I'm a journalist, it's the business. And then, when you're around people a lot and you see them in literal pain over what happened, it's their work, it's their livelihood. They're the ones that are out there on display, and they don't really have answers. Max said, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 times. Every question I asked, I don't know. And I'm not calling him out on that. I believe him.
Yeah. Oh, it was evident. Yeah.
Yes, you know that you didn't strike blocks well. Gene said this week, I asked him, you got to strike blocks against the way they do stuff, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, they didn't strike blocks well. They didn't win the battle at line of scrimmage. They didn't tackle well. They missed tackles. They didn't cover well. They got turned the wrong way. They did so many things wrong. Yes, all those things are obvious, but I don't know is more like I have no idea how we're playing this poorly. I have no idea how we're not blocking at line of scrimmage. I have no idea how Drake the last 2 weeks has just been off.
Yeah.
He had some really good throws and did stuff, and he's a gamer and all that kind of stuff. But, man, he threw a lot of balls on the ground. There's a lot of balls high that maybe should have been better and would have been caught. Everybody, the kickoff returns, 2 terrible kickoff returns.
Yeah.
Every week there's stuff on special teams there's a lot of stuff that has to be fixed, and Mac says, I think genuinely, I don't know. Well, he's going to have time to sit back. He emphasized he will be back. He's going to have an opportunity to kind of look at this stuff and figure some things out, and they got another game to play.
Yeah. So
you got to get it figured out before you in their case right now, I think you said they finished seventh in the ACC.
Seventh in the league, yeah.
Maybe that's good for the bowl game if they end up going to Shreveport and, playing, I don't know, Tulsa's not in a bowl. Someone like that, just to whip up, just to beat somebody.
Yeah,
I'm not being facetious, and I'm not being flippant or anything like that. It's bad. They've dropped 4 out of 5 in the league. The one win was double overtime at home against a true freshman third-string quarterback that was shut out the week before.
Yeah. It's been a bad month and a half in Carolina football. I mean, there's no other way to look at it.
I know I'm sort of segueing into what else we want to talk about.
Yeah.
I think it all just kind of mashes together. It's just, imagine, I don't know, you walk into a room and like if you have pets, like dogs, you come home, you go out to the dinner and a movie and you come home, it's like, oh my God, the couch. 2 dogs destroy the couch and everything's everywhere, and you have to sift through it to find the other things they destroyed too.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of like what this was.
Yeah.
You open up this game and you're like, holy crap. Mm-hmm. My living room is obliterated. And there's a couple of boxers sitting over there wagging their tails, happy to see it. So
it's a great analogy, really. You talked about it a little bit, but
by the way, I have 2 boxers. I speak from personal experience.
Yeah, I'm about to say, you definitely speak from personal experience.
They're probably in my office destroying something as I talk.
Oh, absolutely. You'll find that when you get home at God knows what time of the morning. But
it'd be late.
Yeah. Let's talk about what this means. I know we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but I want to sit on it for a little bit more, because I tweeted it out after the game, and it feels like this program under Mac Brown 2.0 is at a bit of to me, it feels like a crossroads right now because of what we saw tonight and because of what we've seen not only over the last month and a half with how this team started 6-0 and finishes up 8-4, but Carolina had a very, very similar thing happen to it last year as well. So there was a lot of built-up, pent-up frustrations among the fan base going into the season, which we discussed at length beforehand. There just wasn't a very excited aura and vibe around this program coming into the season. That picked up as they won games, 6-0, and then they lose to Virginia. And for me, it just hasn't been the same since. So it culminates in a really, really bad performance. Again, I've said it earlier. For me, it's the worst performance I've seen under Mac Brown 2.0 from start to finish. And this team finishes 7th in the ACC, playing in God knows what kind of bowl game. Do they win that? Who plays in that game? Who knows? Drake May leaving. You've got to almost start from scratch in some ways. I know it's easier to do that with the portal, but still, this is a crossroads point for me with this Carolina football program right now. So, A, do you agree with that? And B, I guess, in terms of what this means, where does the program go from here? Because it's a weird situation right now.
When we do our show in 2 days, I want to go more into that.
Because I think that's what's on Carolina fans' minds right now.
It is, yeah. And I'm not avoiding it right now.
No, I know.
Because I think it's going to take some time to let it marinate, like I said. And I want to go crunch all those numbers. I got my shovel up there, like I said, my theoretical shovel.
A lot of tidbits coming out, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I agree with you on that. I think the bowl game against South Carolina, in a lot of ways, was maybe a worse performance.
Yeah. In
a lot of ways. But this is far more disappointing. This is also... game number 12 this year? So what did he play? 13, 12, that's 25, however many games. So you're talking like 70-some-odd games. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, 70-some-odd games. And last week, they had a chance. Last 2 weeks, they had a chance to put their foot on the throat of Duke, and then Clemson didn't do it. Mm-hmm. This week, they didn't do anything offensively, and the defense is just Swiss cheese.
Yeah,
There's just so many. There's so many. There are football people I know that are not North Carolina people, coaches, and I've gotten to know a lot of people over the course of time, and they tell me this is not a well-coached team.
I think it's very evident tonight.
It's not, there are times it looks like a very well-coached team, and when North Carolina football goes off the rails, man, it goes off the rails. Yeah. And I asked Mac a few weeks ago, I think it was at the Monday after Georgia Tech, about them falling off a cliff, and he very quickly responded, "No, that's your characterization. I don't think we fell off a cliff." For them, it's fortunate they had Campbell tucked in there.
Yeah.
Came at a good time.
Yeah.
Because I'm not so sure, when you think about it, that other than barely beating Duke, a team they should have blown out, because they should have scored touchdowns instead of kicking field goals in that first half. Who else would they have beaten?
I don't know. I don't know. Right now, I don't think they beat anybody.
It's a great win for NC State, but did NC State beat a good football team? And let's keep in mind, and I have to be transparent here, 6 weeks ago, I thought this was a really good team.
I did too. I think a lot of people did. You'd be crazy to sit there and be like, "Yeah, this team's not very good."
I'll reiterate. I'm not being a look at me, but I was on that national radio show, and they were asking me about CFP day after Miami, and I thought, wow, this thing might actually be happening. People in the program saying since May, why can't we be this year's TCU?
I think that's why it makes it more baffling.
The Virginia week was kind of weird with the cheese and stuff like that. Mac's not a gimmicky guy, and he went gimmick on them, and that's not why they lost or anything like that. It's just something started that week.
Yeah,
they haven't been the same.
Yeah.
And I asked Drake, and Drake's, I'm not really sure, because it's going to take time, and sometimes time is all you have to be able to get far enough away to look back and really see the whole picture. Sometimes when you're so close, you can only see what's in front of you. And that's where January will be a highly valuable month for Mac Brown and a lot of people in the program. But what this means is that they're in the 7th place in a mediocre football conference. They finished 4-4 a year after playing in the ACC championship game. None of their goals are attainable. None. No. Not one goal that they
can't win more than 9 games, which was just kind of the base, was the minimum kind of.
9, so I guess I'll have to dial up my 9 isn't enough pieces for next summer.
Yeah.
And none of their goals are attainable now.
Yeah.
They're all gone. Now they have a new goal. A new goal is to win a 9th. So if they win 9 2 straight years, in retrospect, that's good for this program, because historically it doesn't do that, especially since Mac left. People that want to bash Mac need to understand that, you were getting beat by NC State several years ago, and you were fighting in the end zone, and it was a 3-win season or 2-win season. So it's a lot better than it was. Let's be honest, and let's be careful about being overly critical. But that being said, I think it's plateaued. And I think because it's plateaued, it's at that crossroads you're talking about.
Yeah, it just feels like that right
And
now.
Max says he's coming back, so I would think that there's going to be some very, very hard conversations in that building, because the status quo is not working.
Yeah.
It's not working the way he came back to make it work.
Exactly.
And he'd get a lot of people to work for him. And I'm not a guy who ever says there needs to be assistant coach firings. Yeah. I don't believe that's my job. I think that's wrong, because you never know the inner workings. You never know how much assistant coach is doing what somebody above them told them to do. Okay?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The only time I have ever in my career said a coach needs to go as a head coach, because they're responsible for everything. And I am not saying that.
No, absolutely not.
Narrative.
Absolutely not.
I don't agree with that narrative. I think Mac Brown has earned the right to call it when he sees fit, but I do think that he needs to do hard evaluations. And I asked him in the postgame tonight. You could see the postgame press conference. He's going to have conversations with all the players. I asked him, you going to have those same conversations with the assistants? And in part because he brought up last week that, look, assistants, they're looking at other jobs. It happens everywhere. Yeah. College football coaching is a nomadic lifestyle in many respects. So he's got to have conversations, because these kids need to know who's going to coach them. So Mac's going to wake up tomorrow, and he's not just going to sit back with Sally and watch the NFL all day. He's going to begin the process of figuring out where things head into 2024.
And again, we'll talk about this more on our podcast that we'll do in a couple of days, where we'll have a little bit more time to dissect it and kind of talk a little more big picture with this as well. Mitch, talk about the promo real quick.
Okay, we got a great promo going on right now, and I know that when basketball loses Thursday, when the promo starts and the football gets its rear end kicked tonight, it's just not great. It seems like every time Rivals runs a promo, we're like, come on, guys.
Bad timing.
Please, but maybe it's not the promo.
Yeah.
So 75% off. Yep. We always tell you guys it's $8.33 a month for a 1-year subscription. It's now $2.09 a month through Monday.
It's a pack of gum.
Not even a pack of gum. I bought a candy bar last week because I was trying to stay awake driving back from Clemson. I was like, God, I need a sugar rush because I can't drink so many 5-hour energies. And it was like $3.79.
I got a pack of Orbit in there. There was more than that subscription.
Exactly. I have, Listerine strips are a lot more than that. Yeah. I've been pounding those tonight.
It's a heck of a deal.
So, $209. There's so much that you get that you never get on these videos. Recruiting for both sports, the perspective. And I'll tell you the thing that so many people love, it's the dialogue. It has nothing to do with us.
100%, yeah.
It's the people who are members on our site who have amazing dialogue about things that are going great, things that are not going well, projecting in the future. There's a great conversation going on right now about Drake Powell and some of the basket, and James Brown, who just signed their letters of intent, Ian Jackson. So if you're a basketball guy and you love that kind of stuff, man, there's some great posters on our board. Plus, David's piling it up, man. Almost all of David's stuff is premium.
Yeah, 100%.
Because he's so good at what he does, and so much of our football recruiting is as well. So, and most of the stuff I write tonight's going to be premium.
Yeah. Come get signed up, guys. Really good deal. Again, $209, 75% off. Come take advantage. And again, it's a great time to do so with basketball season kind of getting into full swing now. They got a gauntlet coming up as well.
And that'll help us continue to do these things.
Exactly. Yeah. I always say it, and I'll end the podcast with this.
We had a guy, anyway, we travel everywhere, and it's very expensive. And this helps us continue to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe I can get a second person going at some point.
Yeah, exactly, man. Again, always.
You just don't only read my stuff. You want to read other people, too.
100%. I always say it. The more money we make on the site, the more we can do on the YouTube side and everywhere else. Again,
my wife knows. I'll put it right back in.
100%.
She doesn't like that, but I do.
Yeah, that's what you get here at Tar Illustrated. But AJ, we'll get that out of here. You got work to do. I got to get out of here. It's a little chilly down here. 39-20 loss for North Carolina on this very field right here. It's past 1 o'clock now. Yeah,
26 minutes.
It's good. I mean, again, I think a lot of the 8 o'clock games won't even start till like 1:15. So this is a positive, but not a positive night for North Carolina. Again, losing 39-20 to NC State on this field right here. I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones. Keep it locked to TarIllustrated.com for all your coverage from tonight's game, basketball, and again, we'll do another podcast a little bit later this week talking and dissecting this loss and this season a little bit more.
How we're going to get back up in the stands.
Yeah.
I think it's right over there.
Right over there. I hope that gate's not locked. We'll figure it out. We appreciate y'all watching as always, and see y'all next time. Thanks.